for the game, but I didn't, when I came in to record for it, I booked a character that I didn't audition for. And so I had no idea what I was getting into. And I get there and they say, hey, so you're gonna voice for this character, and you're gonna need a Louisiana accent. Can you do that? And I was like, oh, well, I can't lie and say yes, but I also don't want to say no because I don't want to lose this role. This is a big gig. And so I was like, I can try. That was my answer. And so I got in the booth and I was like, well, I'm from Texas, so what about a Southern, what about a Texan accent? And they're like, huh. Oh yeah, let's try it. Yeah, let's see if it works. And so I did that, and they're like, oh yeah, we love it. Let's keep that. And I was like, oh, thank God. Oh,
well, it sounds kind of the sound like that, unless they wanted like you to do like a Cajun, like whoop,
yeah.
I'll your own tea, you know.
Yeah, but I can't do that. I had never worked on that before ever, and so I was like, I don't want to mess that up. And so thankfully they let me do my Texan accent. But there are a lot of the times you'll get in the booth and they will just throw something at you, and hopefully you can do it. When I auditioned for Marvel Avengers Academy for Silver Sable, she needed a Russian dialect or Slavic dialect. And they kind of threw something together I didn't expect to get it. And so I just kind of, I auditioned and then I booked it and I was like, oh crap. Well, I guess I need to study on this.
Up all that.
Yeah, but they needed the lines within 2 days.
You just watch a lot of Rocky and Bullwinkle and feel the caution flag?
Yeah.
I went, no, I went online, I downloaded like 300 audio files of the Slavic dialect, and I studied them those 2 days, and then I recorded all my lines, sent them in, and they're like perfect, and I was like, oh, thank the Lord. So it worked out, but yeah, sometimes you'll get in the booth and you'll need to know a dialect, and they won't tell you, they won't give you a heads up or anything, so.
I'm doing Russian, I just always go like Dolph Lundgren in the Rocky movie, you know? Playing, you know, he's like, I must break you, you know, and then that's it. Then you're there, I must break you. Boom, Russian, you're done. Oh,
Yes.
was there more to that question?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, like what's the hardest part about all this?
Hardest part.
Oh, thinking of stuff to say. No. I think, you know, I do a lot of characters who are very loud and screamy a lot of the times. And so sometimes it's really just about knowing your voice and how far you can go and how long you can go. You know, if you're in the middle of a session and your voice starts cracking, it's ended right there. That's what or at least the directors kind of know to do that these days. Back in the earlier days, they didn't care so much, but now they want to help preserve our voices, which is good. So, you know, sometimes, but you know, you still gotta have a good idea of what your voice can do and how far you can go and how long you can go. Also, yeah, with accents too. You know, at the end of the day, it's one thing to kind of know certain terms or phrases in a certain accent, but then, you know, sometimes you come across like words and phrases you have never said in that accent before, and that creates a whole new ball game of mishaps and stuff like that. So, yeah, accents are tough. Stay away from them unless you can nail it.
Yeah, you don't want to offend anyone with a bad accent.
Yeah,
Yikes.
exactly. So, and then, you know, I mean, even within accents, there are different dialects within those accents and regions of areas of Russia and Ukraine and everywhere else, you know. Even in the UK, I mean, you know, you walk 20 minutes through the UK, you hear 15 different accents, man. You know, and so, you know, pick one. You know, y'all pick one, y'all just keep that accent, but you know, it changes. So, you know, you gotta have an ear. You know, anybody play a musical instrument out there, right? That's a good tool to have, you know, because as you understand tonation and intonation and what's on key and what's not on key, same thing goes with voices. You know, they have an intonation to them. They have a distinct sound. And being able to mimic that sound just as you would with the instrument is, you know, this is the instrument. So.
Nina, what do you think? What's the toughest part for you?
Yeah, for me it's the accent too. I mean, because I'm European, they're like, well, do it in German, but do it in like East Germany, like an East German accent, you know, in the booth, and then do it in French. You're European, now do it in, you know, they just keep going down the list. So for me that has been a little rough, and in the beginning I was like, no, and then now I'm at a point where I just do it, and it has been working out. And for me, because I sang in a rock band, I sing in a rock band, so a lot of scream, angry Marines, you know, yelling and screaming. So I do my warm-ups. If I don't do my warm-ups, I'm screwed. Like, I have to, because I go in there and I'll last a few like an hour, and then I start feeling it, and like it starts crackling, and so I have to do my warm up. I do the same warm up as sing. It's good to like do your warm ups before I think you go in the booth. I don't know.
Well, definitely you don't do them after. That's kind of,
I have cool downs, you know.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Along the same lines as accents and dialects, have you ever had to, have they ever given you lines that are in another language that they wanted you to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. They decided on the spot that they wanted. I don't know if I can talk about it. I did this movie that's out, and now I did the video game, so I didn't say anything. So I did the video game voice, and they decided to make her French. And I was like, I speak fluent Danish. My dad is Russian. I can speak Russian. I can do but they wanted in French. So I had to do these lines in French, which was really scary.
French is tough too, man.
Yeah. So
The French, they don't like it when people speak their language. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would
I've heard about that.
Very snobby.
very snobby. Yeah, so that was a rough one.
I got some more questions, but I know you guys have a ton of questions too. So again, there's a microphone. Don't be afraid to be first. That way you know your question is not stolen, because that happens a lot around here. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
How you doing?
Come on down.
So, I don't want you to lose your jobs or anything. But so,
We don't either.
Thank you.
did Randy Pitchford's thing during all the Gearbox stuff make your voice acting job stuff harder?
Randy Pitchford thing.
With all his controversy and all that, when you're doing Borderlands stock, did that trickle down to any of your voice acting stuff, or?
No.
No.
Okay.
I haven't even heard of it.
I don't even know what you're talking
I
about.
don't either. Sorry.
I know that Randy Pitchford had some guy embezzled some money from him. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
Kind of bad stuff.
Well, that didn't have anything to do with Gearbox. That was his own personal finances.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that. Yeah.
I just
and
didn't
hey, sucks for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
It's
didn't
the
affect
same.
us at all.
Cool. Cool. That's all. Thanks.
So Randy's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. He's fun to meet.
Hello. So I was wondering, for video games, when you would be able to audition for a role, are those set by the actual developer, or are those like a studio hired by the developer that specifically handles recording?
I would say the developer in those cases. These days we do a lot of at-home auditions. Where you recording something from your own home studio or whatever your setup may be. Back in the early, not even that many years ago, when we still went into audition. I would very much say, the producers of the game or the anime or whatever it may have been were, the ones making out the signs. So you had a picture of the character, a description of that character, and lines they wanted you to say. And that came directly from places like Gearbox and things like that for auditioning for Borderlands. So, ladies, any addition to that?
Yeah, I thought, yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll go in the agency and they have if I have a lot of dialogue, I won't do it at home. I like to actually go into the agency and do it there.
Yeah, I like to do that too. If it's a big chunky
Yeah.
thing, hey, can I stop by the studio?
Yeah.
I need about 30 minutes on this.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just nice to have someone guide you through,
Yeah.
just give you a little bit of feedback so you're not.
Yeah, I hate at-home auditions.
Me too.
I will find any way I can to get in and around other actors to do my auditions, just so I have some kind of person to bounce it off of or some kind of audience. Somebody needs to react to the thing I'm doing, or I don't know if it's good or not. Like me, I'm just, I'll think I'm great all day long, but I need to read. I need the real,
I need to get some of your.
Or just like somebody, Chris, hey, you know what? I like that, but hey, remember that thing you did and this one other thing? Maybe try something like that. And, people are giving you ideas of stuff that you did a long time ago you don't even remember. I'm like, yeah, that would fit for this. Let's try that. So, having ideas bounce around is way better than sitting at home going, I'm going to do this really good. I'm really good at this. Oh shit, I did this 20 times now. Which one was the best? I don't even know. This one, I'll send that one. That's
Thank
usually how it
you.
goes.
Thank you. Hello.
Guys,
Hello.
so I actually do get sometimes compliments on my own voice,
Yes.
but unfortunately I was going to ask, how do you feel in regards to the competition there is regarding voice acting?
I mean, there's a fair amount of competition in there, but you know, it often kind of goes by voice type, you know, and voice range. You know, like my only competition are people like Chris Sabat and stuff who aren't that talented, really. And I'm teasing. I'm joking. I'm joking. Actually, no, that really is like he's like my nemesis in the world of auditioning and voice acting. It's like, oh, did Sabat audition for this? Damn it, man, I'm out. Son of a gun, they're gonna get the Sabat. No. But it's about understanding what range you sort of fit in and knowing those players and knowing who your competition is in that regard, and just trying to bring something a little different, some your own little flavor, little salt and pepper that you bring that no one else brings, and just finding out what that is. You know, it's about taking some risks and playing with the dialogue that's given to you, and maybe finding little places to add in a little flavor, a little scoff, a laugh, you know, saying a line, you know, with some sort of other inflection that, you know, may not be written on the page. You know?
Okay. Well, the reason I was asking is I noticed that with my voice and yours tend to be a little more deeper. If I go
Yes.
higher, it's no go.
Right, me too. Right.
Okay.
That's why Mr. Satan sounds so funny when he gets all freaked out. 'Cause it's all cracky and weird stuff. You know, that kind of thing. But,
Well, I appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So I've been doing voice acting stuff casually on YouTube for about 2 years, and I kind of want to get into more professional stuff. But how are you just in the right place at the right time?
Location matters. You have to live where the work is. And there's a lot of studios in Texas. I highly recommend starting in Texas before going to LA.
Where do you live now? Here?
Yeah, here.
You have to move.
Yeah. You really do though. You really do.
Do you have an extra room?
I don't.
Sorry.
I don't.
The three hubs, I'd say, for voiceover are Texas, LA, and New York. But there are a lot of options in Texas, you know, Funimation, Gearbox, Sentai Filmworks, Sound Cadence, Okatron, and then of course you have LA, which is Cartoon Network, DreamWorks, Disney, Nickelodeon, and all those big companies.
The real money in the voiceover game is commercials.
Yes.
That's where the real money is made. That's where you buy houses and cars and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
Out of debt.
and Dallas is one of the largest markets for commercial voiceover as well. So if you're looking to do more than just anime and video games and
You're gonna have to
whatever
do more
else,
than anime.
no, you're absolutely going to have to. You can't pay your bills
Yeah.
unless you have another job, which a lot of people do, or do direct or write or do other things. So you can't just be an anime voice actor because there's not enough hours in the day and enough parts that you can play and to be able to make the money that you would need.
Yeah, and find an agent.
Yes.
You start with finding an agent, and then you get the auditions.
Right.
And then get the jobs, hopefully.
But I tell you, even in Dallas, you know, because anime is so big there, a lot of the agents don't like to touch it because they're not really making that much off of it, right? So it's sort of a thing that a lot of actors just do on their own, on the side, and their agent sends them on commercial and more, you know, video games and things like that. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is the key to just audition for everything?
Yeah,
Even if you're not confident in it, I say do it because I've booked a few roles that I didn't think I was going to book, but I auditioned anyway, and it paid off. So, yeah.
right. I mean, I would say, I want people, I tell my students, I teach workshops in Dallas as well, and I try to tell my students, I want you to take risks, and I want you to take risks within your range.
Yeah.
Don't go into something too deep or low or too high and crazy. That's not your range in there, and then take risks, because that's going to be all kinds of mess. But find the range or types of characters you're comfortable with, and be willing to take some risks in there. Find the ups and downs. Find the emotional adjustments that take place, even in, you know, little lines that you think maybe not a lot's there.
Hello.
Hi. For when you do voice acting in video games, what is your favorite video game character that you have voiced for?
I don't know, ladies.
Well, I really liked being in Borderlands 3. That was cool.
Right.
And because I love working with Joel. He's a great director, and Nereid was a really cool character. And that's my answer.
You know, outside of all the Dragon Ball games for myself, I think Borderlands coming along gave me something different to do, even though it's still kind of in that range. But again, taking risks within the world you're comfortable with. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Torg is a hell of a lot of fun to play. Slightly therapeutic, I usually walk out with a good sweat and a slight temple throb that takes place, but it's satisfying. You know, so.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the new one that I just did. I did a movie and then did a video game, and they had me play because she does all these different accents, so I get to play all these different. She puts on all these different characters, so that it was really fun for me. I mean, it's the same character, but she uses her
Like
different
spy
dialects.
espionage kind of.
How did you know?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a nerd and I play lots of video games, watch lots of movies.
Thank you. Stay tuned.
I know.
Thank you.
So I hope I'm working this right, but what do you recommend kind of keeping your voice in shape so that you don't get winded after half an hour or something like that?
Stay hydrated. Drink lots of water, and of course do warm-ups before you go into the booth. Yeah, Manuka honey is another thing. There's these really good Manuka honey drops, and they're good to coat your throat. And there's a throat coat, which is a tea that you can drink before getting in the booth. Yeah, there's a lot of little remedies that you can take, and it helps protect your vocal cords.
Usually have a cigarette and a shot of whiskey before I go into the booth.
That works too, I guess.
No, don't do that. And I don't do that.
I don't smoke or drink, so I'm
Don't do it.
Well, I mean, it is about kind of knowing your voice and knowing, what it can do and what it can't do. And, what was the question exactly though? What was it?
How to take care of your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, figure that out along the way. Don't stress it out. When it starts cracking, stop.
just basically
Yeah.
kind of build
If you're starting to lose your voice, stop talking immediately. Don't even whisper. Whisper is way worse than talking.
Yeah.
And
I think don't drink cold stuff. You want to keep your vocal cords warm. I
Yeah.
hate being in a vocal booth with air conditioning cranked. I always ask to turn it off.
Bricks.
Yeah, it does. So warm, room temperature water.
bottle of water, room temperature
Yeah, room
water.
temperature.
Thank you so much.
Cold bath. Don't drink milk either. Milk is
Yeah,
bad.
No
dairy.
chocolate.
Dairy is bad.
Dairy.
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
bad.
Right.
It's
Bad-
all phlegmy.
Weird,
Yeah,
Gross.
weird things
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah,
you hear the smacking.
sometimes literally.
Yes. Your mouth starts drying out.
Yeah, it sounds
It's like a
disgusting.
spider web in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are you guys?
Oh, hey, what's up?
How are you doing? Not too bad.
Right on. No, you
Well,
cannot.
they're
take
giving
my
each
job.
other the eyes. Oh,
Right.
how you doing?
Just making sure this guy will never work in this industry.
Yeah.
Competition.
So I do Twitch and YouTube full time, and I wanted to ask you guys, do you think it would be smart to have a portfolio trying to go into voice acting? at all?
Yeah, a portfolio like a resume?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you need an acting resume. Yes.
What would be the best avenues to take getting into voice acting? Because it's something I'm seriously considering.
I say start with theater. There's so many opportunities depending on where you live. Like Chicago has a lot of opportunities, and Dallas, the theater scene is huge. And voice acting is acting. So definitely any acting experience you can get a hold of, add that to your resume, bruh.
You can come take my workshop in Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah, workshop.
Hey, move to Dallas, where a lot of the voiceover work is, and take his class.
Miss Morgan Berry took my workshop
I
3 years
did.
ago.
That's how I got cast in One Piece, actually.
Boom.
Yeah.
By any chance, have a card?
No, you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, and I make those announcements there.
Awesome.
And keep people updated with those. So.
What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter is at my last name, at Rager Coaster, R-A-G-E-R Coaster, like roller coaster, because I'm clever like that.
I can see that.
Right? You see what I did there?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, we're gonna call from the light shadow here. I'll definitely
Right
check that
on.
out.
Please
I'm
do.
on Twitter too.
I'd like to follow both of you.
Follow us all on Twitter.
At the Morgan Berry.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Don't be afraid. It doesn't bite.
No, I have a very loud voice, so.
All right, don't be afraid of it. Let it rip. Let's hear it. Let's go.
So my question is, what is the favorite voice that you got to do, regardless of whether it was in a video game or an anime or cartoon? Your favorite voice that you actually got to produce?
Like got paid for it?
Yeah.
Or fun, haha, friends and family, doesn't matter.
Have you ever seen a show called Love Live Sunshine?
No, I have not.
It's a cute one.
We need to get on that.
Yes, that one. That's my answer. Yeah.
Well, my camera's on live, so I'm streaming for my fans for Cosplay-Butterfly channel.
Oh,
So I'll definitely get that on there.
please do.
Yeah, mine is a comic book character called Dead Speed. Yeah, she's pretty badass. Yeah, I want to be her.
I was on a voiceover panel the other day with John DiMaggio from, you were there, weren't you?
Yes, yes.
You were there. Oh my God, it's
It's already on the YouTube.
So is it? Oh my God, it's hilarious. So, I've been working John DiMaggio does the most wonderful Tracy Morgan impersonation I've ever heard. And I was talking about being Darth Vader and wanting to be Darth Vader, and he's like, how would you play it? I'm like, oh, I play it, pretty straightforward, James Earl Jones, true to the character and everything like that. He's like, I probably train like Tracy Morgan. He'd be like, man, Boba Fett's my uncle, man, And he's like, that's for real, that's for real. But really, right now, my new favorite voice is trying to perfect Tracy Morgan, or John DiMaggio doing Tracy Morgan. That's my newest favorite thing to do. Because I literally walk around just saying, Boba Fett's my uncle, man. That's for real. That's for real. That happened. My lifesavers, man. Lifesavers. Anyway, so that is, I love it. Oh, and I love Baby Yoda. I need more Baby Yoda. Please give me more
No spoilers.
Baby Yoda. I won't spoil it for you other than Baby Yoda is so cute. I have to have one.
I've seen the pictures online. They're
Oh,
circulating.
he's already on my phone. I've already got Baby Yoda on my phone.
But it looks like you. It's a little bit, the eyes.
Yeah, and the ears a little bit, maybe. But oh my God, I love it too much. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've got Darth Vader tattooed on my arm. I have a Vader fetish. I love Darth Vader. And then Baby Yoda came along, and I'm like, why is it so cute? Anyway, so I'm okay. I have Baby Yoda. I'm gonna have it tattooed on my chest, like carrying it around. I got a Baby Yoda.
Can I just tell them what you did right before we went on stage?
Yes.
So he was trying to get in the mood. So he pulled out his phone and then he looked at Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it made me happy.
Oh, he's like, now I'm happy, I'm ready now.
He's right there. I need it so badly. Any merch that comes out, I will own that. All right, sorry, I got off track.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I know everyone's talking about the voiceover work you've done for video games and stuff, but what's your favorite voiceover that you've done for animes?
There's just so many. Well, I got cast as NK Cell in Cells at Work. And that was she's so cool. She's super hot. So I was really glad when I got cast as her. Right? I'm like, oh my goodness. Ooh, she can stab me any day. A hot chick with a sword, It's pretty badass.
That's literally what she said.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Hashtag Baby Yoda for life.
Yes. What was the question?
What's your favorite anime voiceover you've done?
Mr. Satan's obviously, he was my first, he's kind of near and dear to my heart, but I was kind of like the ones, like the most current one now. I'm really liking this Endo character from SCIU, what is that? The Jerry show. I just call it, it's like fairies and dwarves in this world of like espionage and sniper. I'm a sniper named Endo. I'm a dwarf. I was married to an elf. Yeah, we have a daughter. Anyway, long story. So I'm really kind of liking that story kind of playing out. So sometimes it's the one like I'm currently working on. So SCIU, it's on Funimation now. Check it out. $6 a month. And that's my commercial.
I didn't really do any, I did music for them. I'm a musician too. So they would hire me to write the music.
Nice.
But yeah, I didn't do the voice. Again, when you have somewhat of an accent, they're particular with what they want.
So what's your favorite music you've done, like music for the anime?
For the anime? did one with Yoshiki from X Japan. I don't know if you know who that is. It's a very famous Japanese, and they made a character that's based after him called Yoshiki. So it's basically the whole anime is about him, and they made like a Hello Kitty doll after him that's in there. I didn't get to play that one, but I played one of the characters in there, and he wrote the music. So if you have, check him out if you're into anime. Yoshiki from X Japan. They do a lot of really cool stuff with characters and music.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I just wanted a quick question of what's one of your lines that you've said that's had you busted up laughing that you couldn't get through a session?
I have one.
Had trouble getting through a session because the line was that funny.
Okay, so there's this show I play the lead in called Elf Live, and I voiced for Chuta, and he's a middle school boy, and it's a really quirky, weird anime. But if you guys have seen Hitman Reborn, anyone? It's from the same creator. And so it's in the same universe, and Chuta, he has this alien in his chest. Now, that sounds gross, but it's adorable. It's an adorable alien. It's just like, he kind of fades out, like a ghost kind of. and this poor middle school boy, he's in a hospital bed. He looks down and he says, "When I look down, I only want to see my wiener dangling." That was the line.
Nice.
Because when he looks down, he just sees an alien, and he's like, "No, thank you. I don't want that in my life." But yeah.
Well, I just want to be a normal boy.
Yeah, normal boy with no aliens. Yeah, it's Elf Live. You should check it out. It's a cute show.
What's the question exactly? Sorry, maybe.
Bust out one line that you had in a video game and in your work.
In a video game, one of my favorite lines was a line that actually wasn't the real line, but I thought it was, and it made me laugh every time I heard it. And the real line is in Borderlands, Mr. Torque, the vending machine stuff. He pumps out a gun and he says, "Now go punch a fat guy in the dick." But I thought he said, "Now go punch a fat guy in the dick." And I just laughed and laughed. And then Anthony Birch, who wrote the game, was like, "That's not what you say. You say bad guy." I'm like, "Hey man, I know you're a good writer, but I'm gonna go with fat guy in the dick anyway." So sorry. Right? Well, just pretend that you hear it when he says it, because it sounds like he's saying fat guy, and that's what I thought. So, just so you know, in your head, let it be fat guy instead of bad guy.
I want to know what this looks like on the closed caption, what that line says.
Don't turn on the closed caption. Oh, right. Oh, you have to turn off the closed caption. This is not going to go well for you.
Wait, live captioning?
Right.
That's cool.
Right? I think someone says I said something about anime the other day and it came up inmates. I was like, I've been in lots of inmates lately. Like,
Fun.
someone needs to. Can we correct that? No.
Oh, but she said extra pan, it came up extra pan.
Huh,
Extra
nice.
pan.
Hey, look, it's not a perfect science just yet. You know, we'll have it figured out soon.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Hello.
So what's been like the craziest or weirdest request somebody's had for you for voice acting?
Like while you're in the booth, or just like being at a table where some guy actually asked me to like sign his prosthetic leg once.
That sounds cool.
That was crazy. Put it up there, like, what's up? Will you sign my leg? Hell yeah.
I think the coolest thing I ever signed was a car.
A car?
Yeah.
Like a whole car?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the cutest thing I ever signed was a baby.
An actual
They
baby?
set their baby on the table and like, sign my baby, and I'm like, okay. But I signed the shirt. I made sure not to put Sharpie on.
I'd
the
just be like right on that big baby forehead, just Chris Rager.
Dangerous.
Right? It'll be alright. It'll be. Babies are strong, they're tough.
I've signed Harleys.
Whoa.
Yeah, Harleys. Yeah,
You are
for some
cool with
reason.
me.
Yeah, and I ride. And then I've, for some reason, signed a lot of big, sweaty bellies.
Huh.
Yeah, people will come up. I've signed boobs.
Yeah?
Yeah, because remember I'm in a rock band too.
Yeah,
So after
okay,
the
sure.
show, that you know, a
You
lot
sign
of.
my belly.
Yeah.
Wipe it off before you sign it.
Right?
Oh no, it's right after the show. It's nice and sweaty. Yeah, so you have to kind of like with a marker
You
5
really gotta
times.
get that
It,
sharpie.
yeah, it probably didn't go on very well because of the sweat.
Yeah, I've done the. Yeah, I've signed a lot of things.
You know, body parts have been less these days, and the times have changed. And if you're far, I mean, I signed a fair amount of boobs and butts in the day.
Well, what happened?
That's not a request I get anymore.
They changed those to Funkos.
Yes,
Right?
a Funko Pop.
Less boobs, more Funkos.
And Mr. Satan is finally getting a Funko Pop. Make some noise. That's right. See, they made a wise choice because every single one of you will buy one. And you will bring it to my table. You will buy one. And bring it anyway, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, speaking of funny lines in theater, have you ever had any theater or like horror stories in the booth where it seems bad at the moment, but it's funny in retrospect?
I don't know. I've always heard stories like having issues with Sean Schimmel during some Kamehamehas one day. Down, you know.
I do have a story, actually.
Yeah, what was that?
Okay, when I was recording for Elm Live, you should check it out. It was being directed by Sunny Straight.
You will buy L Live. You will watch
You
it.
will. And I love Sunny. Now, here's what he decided to do to get a few laughs out of me. There's this little sound effect within the show that sounds like a fart. It's not supposed to. It's a little transition sound that plays from scene to scene, but it sounds like a fart. Don't ask me why.
Can you make a noise?
No.
You feel like a...
It's longer. Kind of like that, yeah. Yeah, like that. That was good. That was it. And basically, what
Sorry.
You're good. That little sound effect, that audio file, and he placed it without me knowing in a scene. So in anime, you'll hear 3 beats, and then you say your line and go through the scene. So the beats came in, I was about to say my line, then that sound came in. And of course I started laughing because I didn't expect it. And he kept doing it, and there's just one scene in particular.
Did he place it in the beats? Like, was
No, right after the
there...
beats.
Sorry.
That'd be funny though. And my character Chuda is just a middle school boy. He's walking this way, and his crush is walking the other way. And he just takes a sleep. He's going this way, he goes. Because they're so entranced by her. And she's like the wind is blowing her hair. And that's just the perfect moment to play some funny noise, isn't it? She walks by and he's like, oh my god, what does that smell? And so it's just perfect. Well, we all laughed a lot. But Nikiros, the sound engineer, he laughed so hard, he goes, ah, ha, 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 and he fell on the floor. He fainted. He legit passed out on the floor from laughing. So Sunny's like, alright,
Like, oh my god, we need to call the doctor. Someone call 911.
Ears? And then of course he came to, he woke up and goes, oh, I heard music. And then Sunny was like, well yeah, your head hit my ukulele as you went down. So yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, it was perfect.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Any advice in making your own demo reel or finding a reliable agent?
Do not make your own demo reel. Hire someone to do that for you.
Yes.
There are a lot of great studios around. You know, at the end of the day, an actor, in order to get an agent, needs a commercial demo reel more than anything else. So if you're looking to get an agent, get your headshot, get your resume, your materials together that way with a commercial demo. A character demo can come after you start looking at some stuff and you can create that character demo. But I'll be honest with you, the character demo isn't booking anyone anywhere. It may get you in the door, get you an audition, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, the most essential tool you need demo-wise is a commercial demo. The rest of the stuff is mostly booked through auditions and things like that. But your commercial demo could possibly get you more work than that.
A few tips when you're making specifically your animation demo, if you do get one made. Because I'd say it's good to maybe at least have one so that you can send it to studios. Because there are some studios where you can't send your demo in. Put your natural voice in the beginning of the reel. Natural voice goes first, and then show off your age. But make sure you don't make a demo without any acting experience, because your demo reel is your calling card. If it sucks, yikes. You could end up, shooting yourself in the foot before it's
You're an actor and you have the experience, and you can generally put out a good demo, then I'd say make it. But it should not exceed 1 minute in length. Keep it a nice 1 minute long demo.
Same for your commercial.
Yep, same.
It's
Nice.
about a minute long.
Yep.
At the end of the day, people listening to these things are only listening about the first 10, 15 seconds anyway, before they go, no, ooh, I like that, I'll put that there. That kind of thing. And that's how fast it's going through. So
For the best stuff.
very few of them are getting through that the whole minute anyway.
Yeah, and I think find your specialty, so when you do send it out to agents, you will have your own thing, so you're not in the category of like 30 whatever, certain voices. Like, find your thing, and then, you know, they'll hopefully take you, because they don't have 30 other guys like you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you one last question before we wrap up. And that is, so you've done many conventions, this is your first one. Have there been any moments that you're sitting either at your table or you're walking by or you see somebody in the green room that you totally fanboy out about?
Oh man, yeah. Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
You know, a few weeks ago, I think it was in North Carolina. That was a few months ago, North Carolina. And Anthony Michael Hall was here. And I kind of had to go by and see him, because when I was a kid, I don't know if y'all seen, you know, like 16 Candles and all that good stuff. But if you haven't, check those movies out, because they're great. And I went by and I'm like, hey man, I just want you to know I really appreciate your work, especially back in those early days. Because when I was a kid, people used to call me Farmer Ted, right? And not in a nice way, right? You know, it's kind of like, hi, you look dorky. You look like Anthony Michael Hall, you know, like curly hair, freckles, that kind of thing. And so I was just like, you know, so I just want you to know, Farmer Ted, I really, you know, I just always really appreciated your work for that. He took my hand, he shook my hand, he's like, hey man, we made it. I was like, yeah, we did, Anthony Michael Hall. Thank you very much. I'm out of here. You know, and so it was a cool little moment like that. And then the other day, Josh and I, just a couple weeks ago, we're sitting down, we're having lunch, and we look up, and it's John Cusack and William Shatner sitting at the table with us. He was like, this is our life now. That is so surreal. And then they're like talking to each other about these bracelets this woman had bought mine. And it's like, huh, this is so cool.
Well, like I said before, I love Voltron. So I went to a Fan Expo Dallas one year. I think it was last year, yeah. And I got to meet Josh Keaton in person. And we'd been following each other on Instagram, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really want to meet him in person. Oh my gosh, because like I love his work. Not just Voltron, but like he did on-camera stuff that I watched even growing up, and I'm like, oh man, I love this guy. Like I can't wait to meet him. And we have the same agent. So while I was at the con, my agent was like, hey, you want to meet him? There's like no line right now. You could just walk right up. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I walked up, and he looks at me and he goes, you're Morgan Perry. And I was like, Josh Keaton knows who I am? That's cool. And like, I'm such a dork. Like, I made this Voltron parody song called Voltron Hero. You like knew me for that parody song. And then he's like, you're a voice actor too, right? And I was like, I am. Yes, I am. And so it was really cool that he knew who I was. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm starstruck right now. Like, it was really cool to meet him. He's so nice. And yeah, good guy. Yeah.
I mean, to me, this whole experience is surreal. Again, we had lunch, and you know, all these people come in, you're like, I just saw the Joker, and yeah, they're here, and then sit next to you, and you know, just, oh, hi, so Nina, well, okay, so, and I'm like, yeah, just eat lunch, you know, and then I'm gonna go out and do some signings. What's up with you? Yeah, I know what your name is. You don't have to tell me. Yeah, it's like, you know,
so cool.
Yeah, it's like, cool. So, you know, you're trying to play cool, so I become. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just eating my salad, and then I'm gonna go out and do some signings. That's what's happening. I'm like, what are you doing, Nina? I'm like, yeah, so yeah, it's surreal. That's what it is. It's been surreal.
Awesome
so far.
I have one more I want to add to that. One time, Will Wheaton had walked up to me. This was wearing a Borderlands shirt. You know, and he's a big nerd. He plays video games, just reads things. And he's like, hey, you know, I was almost in that game. He's like, what's your affiliation with? And I told him I'm Mr. Tori and the Goliath and things like that. And we're having this really cool conversation, you know, and I think it's leading into like him like maybe wanting to invite me to come do a stream with him or something like that. And then my friend, God bless her, Cynthia Kranz, who plays Chi-Chi in Dragon Ball, she sits down at the table and she doesn't really hear the conversation we're having. And she just jumps out with, I loved you and Stand By Me. I thought you were so great at that. I'm all like, what are you doing right now? Like, I'm having a fanboy moment with Will Wheaton. He likes the thing I'm in. And then she's like, oh, I know. And then Big Bang Theory, you know? And I was just like, you're killing this vibe, you know? And so, sure enough, he kind of acknowledges her and says, thank you very much. He's like, hey, it was just a real honor to get on that show. She's like, I know, Big Bang Theory. Like almost like he didn't deserve to be on it. I was just like, Cynthia, you were killing me right now. She would probably hate that I told that story, but.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you, GalaxyCon, for hanging out with us this afternoon. So I think you guys go back to your tables now.
Yes.
Yes. So if there's any questions you didn't get a chance to ask, please do so at the table. But first, before we leave, if everyone would like to gather up here at the front of the stage so we can take a big photo together.
Right. Make some noise for yourselves, too, guys. Give it up for the fans here. Make some noise. And Baby Yoda.